So this is going to be the new location, not the new location. This is going to be the location of the new shop. It's actually going to start off camera over here, but this tree is all I can fit in frame where the camera is located. And this tree is all I can fit in frame where the camera is located. But this area, I have to cut these trees down. Got somebody coming in to do grading, remove stumps, and to bring in dirt to be compacted, compressed, to put the concrete slab on. So here starts the work, and we get to cut down some trees. So you can tell this area, it appears very tight, and we do have the backhoe sitting out in the middle of this. So we're being overly cautious. These are some of the first trees that we've ever cut down. We've learned a lot since then. This is almost a year ago. We were using a chainsaw that was way too small, but as a portion of trying to control it, we used a skid steer to, direct the fall and to, push it over that last little bit. It was a little Ryobi electric 16-inch, 14-inch, something like that. I forget exactly, but it worked fine. It still works fine. 18 volt. But the skid steer does a lot for helping direct the fall of the tree. And we were being conservative. I'm cutting the trees as close to the ground as I possibly can, which I've learned is not necessarily the best application because of the way that the trunk swells. If you take this log to a sawmill, it doesn't really gain you much because they have to cut it off anyway because it's irregularly shaped compared to the rest of the body of the log. But you can see me measuring it to cut it up to move it around. And I've sped this time lapse up even more so that we didn't just completely bore you. It's interesting to see how things have changed over time. This was originally going to be the location for the shop, and the county zoning told us that we could not place it here because it was going to be in front of the house. You can see in the background that is the substation. It was intentional. It was by design that the shop would block the substation from the view of the house, and also cut down on the humming and the lights and that kind of thing. But this area, as you probably have seen in more recent videos, has blossomed considerably. Lots of grass. We tried watermelons and pumpkins with minor success. I'm sorry, watermelons and cantaloupes with minor success. And we are attempting now some pumpkins in this same area. We moved topsoil over from the correct current location for the shop, since it was going to be wasted anyway, and we kind of fortified what was already here. That's a flag from Connie that flapped over the camera. This was a good day's worth of work. So I think we cut down 2 oak trees and 2 sweet gums so far in the clearing of the area with that guy. A little Ryobi 18 volt 10-inch chainsaw. If you keep a chain sharp, you'll be fine. So these are the trees that we cut down, taking them to a local sawmill guy who's going to cut these down for us. Now, I know you might be saying, that's a little bitty tree. What you gonna do with that? We're gonna have it cut down into planks, as many as we can, and we're gonna use them as siding on a shed. Just cause. It's sweet gum. It's, we're gonna see how much of that we can cut. That one right there is really small. And we cut the 16.5 feet-ish, and it's gonna be good. Well, I can't say it's gonna be good. we're going to see what happens. As my wife loads the skid steer back in her little nest, you can see from a different perspective the mess that we have made and or cleared. Big stump there, stump here, stump over there, and I lost track of the other one. This was a sweet gum that was forked and fell in 2 pieces, and this is some of that. Sweet gum typically not used for anything because it can warp and twist as it dries, and our application is non-structural and non-wasteful. We're going to see what happens. And then we got a little stack of firewood from the oak that was too small to do anything with. And these limbs are big enough that you feed enough of them into a fire, maybe a campfire, maybe to smoke some meat over. It's oak. Hate to be wasteful, so we've got a large contingent of those. And I know the light's not great, but I just wanted to capture this before I move it all around and change stuff. We did a couple of sweet gums, which nobody wants to do anything with because it warps and twists. But if we can get it nailed to before it warps and twists, it should work well as a siding. I've laid out some pieces that I think have a lot of personality. So these are the first cuts that still look very rustic, and we only need 4 feet at a time, so maybe able to do one side completely in a piece like this, and then these are other shorter pieces, thinner pieces rather, and the ones that pinch to, like this one and this one, as they get smaller and smaller. I may use these more toward the top where the roof line is, and I may splay them. Instead of trying to make them all even, I may splay them so that they fill in those gaps. We'll see, but not today. So I thought the grain on this board was simply too pretty to just take a picture of. Especially when you get to the knots and the bumps from the limbs and the kind of the waves, and there's the whole this piece. Look at that. All the way down to the end. Get some color change. The part that really I liked was the way that you get the waves through it as it grew out. This is a gorgeous piece. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Too many hobbies, not enough time.
It's a theme song, y'all.